What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Heard the Word podcast. I'm Stevie Browning, alongside co-host Jared West. And today we got the man, the myth, the legend,
Yes,
Coach
sir.
Dan D'Antonio.
Coach, welcome, man.
Hey, welcome back to you guys. Y'all always make my day, so it's good.
Well,
It's
I
good to see
appreciate
you, man.
it. Coach, first things first, we appreciate you coming to Wheeling and then coming to Philly and supporting us in the TBT. Man. It meant a lot looking over there and seeing you.
Well, I appreciate that coming out, but I got more enjoyment out of it than you did. So it was something I wouldn't miss. I was proud of you guys, and that's really how we started this program, was to make it a family based. You know, once you're in the family, you're never
Yeah,
out.
right.
Yeah.
So we enjoyed it. I don't want y'all to think it was a chore. It was not. It was fun to go up there. So, you know, I wish you'd won it all, but you know
we're
what?
Close.
You
I
got
had it.
that. Well, you got that little Snoopy thing out there that says, you know, it's not about the destination.
Yeah,
It's about your journey.
that's fast.
And you know what impressed me the most about you guys is when that game was over. You guys are older. You know,
Yeah.
you're young men now. You're not the young lads that came here. Y'all took that loss hard.
Hard.
Yeah, we did.
And I
It
could
wasn't-
feel it in your locker room.
It wasn't just the Marshall guys either.
No, it was
It
the
was
whole.
everybody.
Y'all spread that, and it really the kid from Houston
Yeah,
said it.
Grant
You know,
Robb.
I wish I would have had that experience.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that tells you something, and that comes from y'all and
that's-
everybody that works in this area.
And that stems
and
from
everything.
you.
Well,
Yeah.
I hope that's my purpose. So it works good, and I wish you'd have won it, but hell, I had a good time.
I already had that money spent in my mind, Coach. So what we like to do, like I said, is just let people come on and tell their story, tell how they got to where they are. So let's start on the Dan D'Antonio experience. We know you're from Mullins. I want to know.
You know, the basketball capital of West Virginia. I hate it for you two guys. You know, you could have been a little bit better if you'd grown up there, but okay.
Well, look.
Okay.
Look.
Not everybody can
I've
be
heard-
from Mullins.
I've heard somebody say that Willie came to Logan and started winning.
Now, what I told them, the best thing ever happened to Logan was a guy from Mullins came to Logan. And that made Logan better. But
that's
Willie
awesome.
was a great player. You know, you didn't have the experience, but I had Jerry West, Willie, and Butch Good playing in my backyard before they signed to go to West Virginia.
Mm.
And they went as a package deal. My dad coached Willie, and they were coming down to sign as a package. Butch Good was my cousin. He played at Pineville. And then Jerry played at East Bank, which became West Bank for a short period of time. And they were down there signing, and we went out back and played a little ball.
So what I want to know is, because I got a little bit of it, but not like you did. You got to play for your father for a long time. How did that?
Well, no, I didn't play for my
Did
father.
you not?
My dad did not want to coach me. And plus, back then, money wasn't real good. I think he became a principal the year I started. And his assistant coach, which was Abe White, became the head coach. Now, I lived with a head coach all my life. And there were a time, I remember one ball game, I'm just saying this to tell you what it was like to live there, not to boast or anything, but I had 42 points, 12 rebounds, 10 assists, and beat Bluefield, which at that time was a huge school. I was all excited, it was fun. It was Saturday. I was going to go, Friday night, I was going to go out and with all my friends and stuff. And I'm ready to jump from the house to go out. And he said, "Where are you going?" I said, "Well, we're going out and beat Bluefield. We're going out and get together and have fun." He goes, "Well, before you go, come over here and sit down." And he pulled out a list of 2 pages, what I did wrong. In a game, I thought I was perfect, So I kind of lived with that, but he never was really pushy, but he was always there to help me through my career, or if you call it a career, my playing days at Mullins.
Did you still go out that night though, Coach? That's what
Oh yeah, he let me go out.
Good. Okay.
He let me go out. He didn't. He never pushed me either. Right? When you say coach me, he had the keys to the school. Obviously, he was a principal, And I remember the first time when I was a sophomore freshman, he put the keys on the kitchen table. Because this is where I leave my keys. If you want to practice, it's there.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
then he never told me go practice.
Mhm.
He never said you need to do this as far as effort and things like that. He's if you want it, there it is. So I took him up on it. I was the morning alarm clock. They said 6 o'clock in the morning. I was dribbling up.
Yeah.
And they said I woke everybody up. I didn't realize it, but and that's what you have to do. That's what you guys did. Here, that's what y'all did. And it's just, you give me the opportunity to relive my youth through y'all. And then really, I'm the beneficiary of it all.
Well, you've told me 1,000 times the story about how you got recruited to go into Marshall because correct me if I'm wrong, but they were there to watch somebody else.
Yeah,
Right?
Dallas Blankenship.
Dallas
He
Blankenship.
averaged about 32 points and was a high school All-American in some of the magazines
Mhm.
that came out. I was not mentioned in any magazine. I was little. I was 5'11", weighed 150 probably. But Ellis Johnson, who was Adolph Rupp's first All-American in basketball, but he's also All-American football and baseball at Kentucky.
Wow.
And he came in, and I remember we played Dallas. We were playing Pineville at Mullins, and he came in after the game, and coach came in and said, and back then we lived in a holla. We didn't know anything that went outside the holla. So I didn't know what Ellis Johnson looked like. I knew Marshall because my uncle played there, but I didn't follow Marshall. We were more toward West Virginia, if we did, because that's the only station you could watch, and actually see somebody play. We watched the '59 NCAA championship that they got beat by Imhoff in California, and so I was more in line with that. But I knew of Marshall because connection with my dad got his master's from there. My uncle played football, graduated from there. My aunt went there. So I had connection, but I didn't know who, you know what I'm saying? I didn't know Ellis Johnson was coach. So they came in after the game and said, there's somebody here to see you, a college coach. I said, oh, who? You know, and he said, Ellis Johnson Marshall. And I said, oh, okay, I knew Marshall. And so he walked in and he said, I really didn't come here to see you, but after watching this game, I came into this locker room first. I want you to come to Marshall and be our point guard for the next 4 years, 3 years. And I said, well, let me check and see how many people I got after me. and since I was open, I said, okay,
I'll take it.
I'm ready to go.
So what was your Marshall experience like?
We hit a good spurt. The year before I came, the freshman team was undefeated, and they were counting them. They were 12-0. I think we only played 12 games back then. And West Virginia was undefeated. And so they were trying to get those two teams to play each other. They had some really good players, George Stone, Bob Allen, Red, Joe Dawson from East, and Orville Stepp from Inez, Kentucky. And they had beaten everybody pretty good. Virginia Tech freshman team they had beaten, and they were trying to get them to play. Of course, West Virginia not going to play us. They had, I think Ron Weir, what was his name? Ron Williams from Weirton was on that West Virginia team. He was a big athlete in West Virginia, and they wouldn't play us. And so I came at a good time. Those guys then went from freshman to sophomore. The new freshman class.
Were you allowed to play your freshman year?
No, we played freshman ball. I would have moved up on the list a little bit on everything if I'd had 4 years.
That's
true. I had 3, period. But, it was funny, and just off subject a little bit, but, I graduated at 20.
Wow. So would you come in at 16, 17?
17.
What? Jeez.
So, I was going to be 21, but I hadn't gotten there yet. So,
Really?
yeah, so I was, my best days were
Ahead.
25, 26,
Yeah,
27. That's
exactly.
when you're really feeling your oats.
Right.
And I didn't even come close. But anyway, so I came at a good time. That team, there was a lot of excitement generated by that freshman team, and Marshall has a passion, or Huntington has a passion for basketball. They
for
always
sure.
have.
It's
Huntington-
a Southern West Virginia thing, I think.
Yes, it was, because West Virginia basketball was some of the best.
Yeah.
You had, well, obviously, it was mostly West Virginians that went to the NCAA final against Emhoff. West and Akers anchored that team. Akers was the center. Of course, West was an all-time great, but they anchored that team. And my dad had great teams. Leo Bird, who played at Marshall, Hal Greer from Huntington. I mean, those top 50 players
Yeah.
ever in the NBA. So basketball was great here. And Mullins was Hoosiers before Hoosiers. In 55, they won state championship, beat Leo Bird, Huntington High in the championship, and got beat the next year in the semis by Jerry West and East Bank. And so it was big, and it was exciting, and it was generating that two freshman teams. They wouldn't play. Of course, rivalries create excitement.
Yeah.
There was a lot of excitement, and they finished a little bit above 500 that first year I was a freshman, didn't play. And then Jim Davidson, who was one of the best athletes in West Virginia, from Logan,
Yeah.
and in fact, I played against him in high school. We played Logan when I was there. One game we had to go there. They were like, West Virginia, you want to come play, you got to be there. And I had to go for Willie because Willie was West Virginia. Of course, I didn't mind them because I was toward West Virginia anyway, So we finished our freshman year. It was okay. I had a good freshman year. Dallas had a good one. Dallas averaged about 22. I averaged about 25, I think. So we moved up to that freshman team moved in. And when that happened, Jim Davidson, who transferred, he didn't play on the freshman team, but transferred in, became eligible. And then I started playing. We kind of took the guard spots with Allen and Stone and Red. And then from then, it was called the Iron Man 5 because we never came out of the game. And that's why we got the Iron Man 5 title. Rick Hall, we had some people help us, some other teammates, obviously, at times. But if we weren't too far ahead or we weren't in foul trouble, we were in the ball game.
Yeah.
And it was exciting. We had crowds that filled the whole time. I remember we beat Toledo. They were ranked 5th in the country, I believe. Had Steve Nicks, who played for the Sixers, and what's his name? It was supposed to be the toughest enforcer in the NBA. Played for him. He went over at Idi Amin and never came back. John Brisker, who was supposed to be the toughest guy in college basketball, but they were undefeated, and I think they were 29-0. Came in here and we beat them.
Took it down.
And I remember being carried off the floor. You know, everybody rushed the court.
That's awesome.
Back when you could rush the court, everybody rushed the court, and they were put us on their shoulders, and we body surfed back into the locker room. But those were great times and great excitement, and some good people. Doc Hagley, who was president of the Big Green, who became a mentor of mine, and just a lot of good people, a lot of good memories from Huntington and Southern West Virginia and a tri-state area that was etched in my mind when I left the NBA and was coming back here and had this opportunity.
Did you guys have an NIT run, Coach?
We did have
Right.
2 NIT.
2, right? Okay.
So,
And that was when the NIT was the.
it was 16 and 16.
Okay.
And, a lot of those 16 in the NCAA had conferences that hadn't really valued basketball yet.
Okay.
So there were 5 or 6 conferences in that, plus like North Carolina or ACC, which was loaded back in. That was Tobacco Road times. Only one of them got into the tournament. They were like in the tournament we played in the first year. Duke was in it, Syracuse was in it. I mean, there were some heavy hitters in that tournament, and we won. I always tell Mike, because we go back and forth, they were ranked 12th, I think, at the end of their season. Got beat in the first round of the NCAA, and then he got beat first round of the NIT the next year. But I always thought, well, y'all were pretty good regular season. If you really want the best tournament team, we're the only one that won 2. He goes, yeah, but that's because when you didn't play the real top dogs. I said, no, that's not true.
That's not what it's about.
I said, you're not true. So he goes, well, I know wasn't that us. He was talking about when we beat Wichita. He was saying, he said something. Yeah, but we had to play, a higher ranked team.
Mm-hmm.
I said, that's not true. And he said, what do you mean? I said, well, these boys, we were seeded 14. We had to play a top 14.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, okay, yeah. He said, because he said, well, it's 60 some teams. You got a lot, some that aren't as good, whatever. And I said, whoa. We were seeded 13 or 14.
Yeah.
We had to play a 4 who had been number 1 in that year in the country for a time being.
So that's top 16 right there.
Yeah. No. Well, they were top. They were the number 1 ranked team at one time during that year.
Yeah.
And then they fell down a little bit,
but they were ranked all year.
Yeah, they were ranked all year long, and so I was standing up for you boys.
I wasn't on that team.
Appreciate it.
That was the year. That was the year after.
Well, I had to get rid of your butt to get this guy.
You had to switch me and Jim. That's all it took.
No.
So how did you get into coaching? I know it's in your family, history.
Well, it's like my daughter said, I was a one-trick pony, but it's a good trick. I don't know how to do anything else. I don't know how. As Mike and I always talk about that a little bit. He says, "What we had done about basketball, I don't know. I don't think we can do anything else."
Yeah.
But it's been it has its ups and downs. There's times I've been in a fetal position at home. You take a lot of criticism from people a lot of times, and you get a lot of praise. But you get a lot of satisfaction. The satisfaction I get is from you guys, and if y'all enjoyed the experience, and it's not all about W's and L's. It is some. It is more than some. It is a lot, but it's not totally that.
That is something. Sorry to cut you off.
Go
But
ahead.
that is something that was completely different than anything that I had ever been used to. Dan would stop practice and give you a real life lesson for 10, 15 minutes. And that showed me that it wasn't all about that. He was investing into us and how we became men and teaching us to be upstanding people in society and like that. I appreciate that.
That lasts a lifetime. Basketball's not going to last a lifetime. And I get more enjoyment out seeing. I'm happy to see y'all happy here, but if you're not happy here doing what we're doing, then you got a problem.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. Yeah.
It's gonna be tough.
But what I like to see is that when you leave here, you're successful, and that you have a happy life, and that you enjoy living. We're all here just a short time, and to be miserable or not to enjoy what you're doing, if I haven't helped that, I haven't done my job as a coach. That's my feeling.
Yeah, for sure. Something that we were talking about was how you kind of created an environment now of all the guys who played for you and have played in Marshall, we all like to come back.
Yep.
And I think that's a great kind of representation of the culture that you're trying to build, and just kind of how good the environment is that we have here, and how everybody wants to come back. We come here, we work out, we play with the guys, obviously with the TBT stuff and everything. But Big Ryan is obviously on the staff now. I just think that's great. Yeah, Corny, Marshall guy, he's on the staff now. I just think that's great.
Adam Williams.
Yeah.
That to me is special, and I use that. I guess that same thing scenario kind of when I was in high school. Sox City High School. They had I was in the NBA coaching. I was in LA, and they were going to have an alumni game between Sox City and Myrtle Beach. Well, Myrtle Beach has some great athletes, and they went a lot. Ramon Sessions, who played in the NBA, was heading up their team, and it's always been a big rivalry. And both teams went at each other. We might have gotten them a little more than they got us, but it was close. And so they had an alumni game, right? And Alvin Green and my sons were getting the Sox City side, and they brought it out and they put it out and got in the papers. 2,000, almost 2,500 people showed up to watch the game. Well, the difference between the two squads, they were able to get 10 people. We had 150 who wanted to play for Sox City High School. And to me, that told me something. you
That
know,
they enjoy.
that they would come from far and wide
Mhm.
to be just one more time to enjoy playing at Sox City High School. And to me, that trumps all W's and L's.
How do you create that?
One, I value y'all. You know, I pick. I'm careful who I pick.
Mm-hmm.
I like people who have good families, good people who aren't angry.
Mm.
You know, at the world, you can almost sense
You
who
can.
it is. And then the other thing is that you pick a staff. And again, I go back to that Snoopy little thing out there. It's who you ride with, you know. Just make sure you get in the car with a bunch of good people. And if you do that, then the ride's fun
Mm.
wherever it ends up, you know.
That's-
And
That's true.
it was fun for me to watch y'all. It didn't get to where I wanted it to be, but I wouldn't trade that experience to win it with people I don't want to ride with.
Exactly.
And so I enjoyed it. I think that's part of it. And pick your assistant coaches and you get people to buy into it, and then we treat you right the best I can. You know, I can't do everything for you, but and I think we hold our line when we have to. You know, when we have to. Sometimes you have to have hard conversations. It's
Sure.
not easy. I never enjoy that, but sometimes you have to do it. And I do think when I do hold a hard conversation, the other players on the team realize it had to be done. It's not
Mhm.
something that I was looking forward to do. I don't do it just to throw a W out there. I'm doing it because the environment that you create, or you're not buying into the environment that we have,
Mm.
which is people work hard, play hard, and play for Marshall.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the environment I try to get. And I think y'all appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Sure.
You seem to. So.
Shoot, it's contagious.
Yeah.
The
Oh, I
TBT
agree with
shows
that.
that.
Mhm.
It was like we had our core Marshall guys who are straight from Dan's system,
Mm-hmm.
and we rubbed off on everybody else.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they bought into it.
Yeah.
So it's contagious. Like
No, there's no question, and I think for the most part, our fan base here appreciates that. I think they've seen both sides, and I think they appreciate the fact that we have young men who, one, represent the university well, whether it be on the floor, in the classroom, going to a dinner at their house, going to a show downtown,
Mm-hmm.
that they represent Marshall well. And that was another thing. I wanted to represent Marshall, the state of West Virginia, and we try to get as many West Virginians as we can. We can't get everybody, and I know that, you know, maybe I miss a few. I try not to. We scout as good as we can, but I have to keep a standard of play. And when it fit, if it's close, I'll promise you I'll bring the West Virginia kid in. But I try to get that image that this is Marshall. You can see it in how y'all dress, how you act, how you mingle with each other, and how you are as a person. And then we try to make you the best basketball player we can and beat the dog out of West Virginia. If we can play them. If we get them back. You know, they got me twice. We took them to overtime once.
did.
But
Yes,
even that year, I was surprised.
that was
very
my
first
red
year.
shirt year.
Yeah, very first year I was here, we took them to overtime. Really should have beat them.
Should have beat them.
But, you know.
Was
those
that
are-
at the Civic Center?
JP
in Charleston?
Campbell.
Yeah.
JP Cambola had an open look at three.
Oh,
to
wide
beat 'em.
open.
He was wide open.
And so, but, you know, it was a great experience. And I've always said too, and I'll probably get criticized for it, but I would rather lose in front of 10,000 than win in front of 10. Because in 10, you're not relevant anyway. Who
Mhm.
cares?
You're right.
And what we do is we make people care here. We get our place filled, you know, we brought back the fan base. And it's fun, and people care. You're going to get criticized at times, and, you know, it hurts. It's not easy. Nobody likes to be criticized, but at the same time, you got a lot of positives that you push forward and keeps you here and keeps you excited.
Well, Coach, I definitely want to ask you about your NBA days. Just what was that whole thing like? Because you're coming from a holler like I'm coming from a holler, and that's probably the farthest thing from that.
Well, it started with Mike.
Yeah.
You know, that's why you treat your brother good. 'Cause you never know, right?
Steve, you
You
should have
know,
got it
you know,
right, bro.
You know,
I tried to.
Treat him right, bro.
treat them right. It was like Mike said when he called me. I was at Sox State High School. He said, "Look, I got a chance here to get you on staff. Will you come?" I said, "Let me think." No, okay, yeah, I'll be there. But it's like he said. He said all my life. I was 4 years older, right?
Mhm.
So we'd go play on the playground, and I would go. All right. And when we first started, he was 4 years younger, so he wasn't as good as
Mhm.
some of the. So I knew I could pick him up on the second or
Yeah,
third
right.
pick, right? So then we started winning, and it started getting a little more difficult. And so I ended
You were
up.
starting to have to use those.
I'll
early
take him
picks for
second,
it.
and then after a while, I was going. I'll take him first. If I didn't take him first, he wouldn't be there.
Uh-huh.
So I started taking him first, and then it finally because he got good, obviously, as he grew in stature in his game. But I'd have to go. All right, I'll give you three picks, and I get mine. Then it was 4 picks. Just pick your team, and
Pick
Mike
your
and I
team.
played together. Well, I did that the whole time. I never would play without him on my team. And so, what happens? He gets a chance to pick a team.
He gets
Yours
you on.
first. So there I am, and got a chance, and you know what? What I learned a lot. I learned from the players that played.
Phoenix was the first
Phoenix,
stint, right? Okay.
7 seconds or less.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's.
Steve Nash and Maury Stoudemire.
I bet that made that system. It did. I watched it.
Yeah,
That made
I
that
was saying,
system
that was
fun.
awesome.
Well, that was the first exposure into the NBA of playing, running to the corners,
Yeah.
pick and roll early, spacing the floor, shooting a lot of threes, layups, threes, and foul shots.
Yeah.
And that was the first introduction. And I think first year Mike was coaching, they were 32-2, and I mean it wasn't even close because they didn't know how to defend
Yeah,
it.
nobody really.
They had slow guys. They were in the lanes, and they thought they were going to come in the lane against them. And they were firing from out
Spreading out
here.
for three, yeah.
But a great story on that. It was my first year there, and Amari Stoudemire is running up and down the floor, right? And he's the center guy, the guy that sets the picks and rolls or runs down the floor early. And he wasn't getting the ball. We were up 30 points, but we were nailing threes. Just nailing them. They were crowded in the lane, how they'd go, and Roger Bell and all them guys were knocking down threes, and so calls timeout. He walks over in about the middle of the second quarter. He goes, "What do I look like, Carl Lewis?" Because all he was doing was running. He goes, "Could I get the ball once?" So Mike, I remember Mike looked at him and said, "Hey, Maury, I promise you, second half,
They're all gonna run out to the 3
you'll
point
get
line.
everything you want."
Mhm.
He scored 32 points. He was dunking everything because they were all doing that.
Yeah.
He was going right down the middle. So it's gotten a little tougher because people have adopted defensively a little bit to try to take away some of the advantage you have when they first came in. But a lot of good stories. That was one of the best ones. What do I look like, Carl Lewis?
One of the funniest things, and Steve, I'm sure you've seen it, was the video
Of Shaq.
of Shaq running to the bench, and Coach Dan,
Oh.
Coach Dan was quick.
No.
Out of
Coach
there.
Dan was gone.
Hey, I was right in the path. He was coming right at me. And Shaq is one of the best human beings ever. But and it was funny. I had to have a hip replacement at the end of that season. It was killing me.
Mm.
But when there's something like that's coming
Yeah,
at you,
yeah.
that's scary. Everything jumped. I knocked 3 people down going that way. Knocked 3, and he stops like this and goes, "No love." And I remember after the game he walked in, "Coach, you know I'm not gonna hurt you." So I saw that big
I'm not
22. I saw that big 22 when you jumped the bench the week before. Catch that guy in the mouth, and I wasn't about to be
Not taking that risk.
It's not worth the reward.
No, that was 360 pounds coming right at you hard.
Was Phoenix your favorite NBA place?
That was the best team, fun team.
Mm-hmm.
But I enjoyed all of them, really, to be honest with you. There's a misconception maybe about NBA players. If you have a negative sense of NBA players, it's wrong. Are there a few that throw that vibe out? Yes. But for the most part, 95% of those guys, hardworking, great guys,
Yeah.
afraid they're going to lose their job, will come hard every day, and I admire them for their effort and their dedication to being a really, really good player. So I didn't experience one of the questions they always ask me. Well, how did you change coaching high school and junior high? I started junior high, high school, now college. How have you changed how you approach players? And I said, I didn't. I haven't changed any. I have to be me, and I think that's the important thing is that and you can fool them a little bit as a junior high student, maybe not junior high. Junior high will catch you faster than high school kids. You can fool some high school young players. You can not as easy to fool college. It's getting harder because they're more aware of everything that's around them and stuff. You can't fool an NBA player. And if you're there for the wrong reasons, if you're there to promote yourself and not them, they're going to shut you off really quick. And so I just, my whole purpose of coaching here and there, and I don't want to sound fuddy-duddy or nerdy sounding, but really is to be honest with you. It's like Christmas, you can, when you're young, you get presents. It's a great Christmas, right? Not bad. But when you're a dad and you're giving presents, it's better. And for me, it's better to watch y'all be successful than it is when I played and people were heaping that on me. The real joy is seeing that you've helped some people do good things, and that's, I try to stay true to that core. And,
That's an amazing perspective.
so that's the way I look at it,
Yeah.
one way or the other, good or bad.
Yeah.
W or L, I'm there.
Coach, you coached a lot of great players in the NBA, a lot of Hall of Fame guys, a lot of guys who go down as all-time greats, but you also coached a lot of guys too who really good at their role and help teams win. And I just wanted to ask you what do you feel like the common denominator is with all those guys as far as just being successful? What would you tell younger guys or people even in college, about the work ethic and the details and all that all those guys put in at that level?
Well, you can't imagine how hard those guys work.
Mhm.
I know sometimes and you were here, and Stevie here, y'all were, but you didn't have an idea of what that next level and how hard those guys trying to make that next level work. It's getting better because the word is getting out, and you're starting to recognize it or see it here at this level, because we got young men today that would be in that arena right now. That, when I was here, we were out. I was out doing something else. I didn't have an idea. And you have weight coaches.
Yeah.
We didn't have that. And tutoring, we didn't have that. So we didn't have all the things that y'all have that force you into really a work environment. And so my suggestion is you got to love the game, number one. That's when I go back to my dad put the keys there. It was the love that made me pick that game up. Keys up, excuse me. It was not my dad telling me. It was the love of the game that I picked the keys up. And so you have to have that love. If I'm talking to a young player, you got to want to be good. I termed it in a sense, y'all really. I've been trying to. You got to dare to be great. You can't dream it. Some people are afraid to be successful, and what they do is they're afraid to make a mistake. They're afraid to, I might lose what I'm trying to get. Well, if you're afraid of being a star, because you're afraid you won't be a star, guess what? You're probably not going to be one. And so you got to dare to be great. You got to allow yourself the freedom and the relaxed state and confidence that I can get this done. And I try to promote that the best I can in young people with you, Steve, all of you, try to make it fun for you so that you can relax and play the game that y'all have practiced and done for so many years. And so I think that's the primary thing is confidence is huge. I've always said that I shot better, I know as a player, when I picked my shot than it did when a coach picked one for me. And now I have to have a little discipline in my game and understand what I can do and what I can't do. Coach has got to let you explore that, and then hopefully that you're going to be an unselfish person who wants the team to win, and you'll rule yourself in, and I won't have to do it. I think that's the best scenario is when the team provides its own structure, discipline, and it's not the coach that is heading all that up. It's the players that are heading up. Now the coach gives you that opportunity. He presents it, but he doesn't certainly own it. The players own it, and I try to, tell them, and I've told y'all when you're here, it's easier for y'all to make me a good coach than it is for me to make you a good player.
Mm-hmm.
And not that I don't have a part, don't get me wrong, but the emphasis has got to be on the player, and that y'all have to, I'm not shooting a shot anymore. You are. You got to make it. And so I try to put that out to you. I give you that responsibility, and the players that we've had here, I feel real comfortable later on as they go out into the world that they're going to handle their responsibilities, and our world's in good shape. So that's it. That's about all. But the great players all have that. There are some players who become selfish that are great. I didn't like in the NBA. There's some superstars, a couple of them. I would give you 10 cents. I wouldn't pick them on my team. They would not make my team. I don't care how great they were. They wouldn't be on this team. Some people look at that and say, well, you're weak or soft. And well, maybe. I'm happier than you, though.
It comes back to what you said earlier. Like, we only have a short amount of time in life.
Right.
We might as well
better enjoy
enjoy
it,
it.
man. You better. But I had a lot of great players. Leandro Barbosa, who's, great, just really good times. Sacre, who played at LA. Calls me. Boris Diaw, who's fun, gave you a member, Steve Nash. I mean, obviously the great one, Steve Nash. But it was a great ride. I coached Raymond Felton too in high school and in the NBA. So, and I coached Ramon Sessions in high school, but I got to watch him play. We didn't ever get him on our team. I would like to have, but
That made y'all a little bit better down in soccer, Steve.
Well, he should have been over at soccer.
Oh, are you talking about
well, no, that's okay. Because if it had been like in the Logan days, y'all recruited everybody. Y'all cheated. I didn't do that. I just took it. No, don't give me that.
Exactly.
Don't give me that.
Exactly.
Am I right?
You're right.
I'm right. But
You went to Notre Dame. Y'all are a problem.
No, wait.
Stop
it is a little bit, but yours is a whole lot. But anyway,
I neither confirm nor deny the allegations.
let's put it this way: whatever it weighs, however you did it well. So okay, you're always good. That's good for basketball. That's good for state basketball.
You know they have a transfer rule in it now.
Oh, that's probably the Logan rule.
You can transfer once and not move. You can just.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
High schoolers are entering the portal on Twitter now.
Yeah,
they're letting everybody know, Coach, I'm entering the transfer portal in high school.
They're doing the
So
same thing.
I'm committed to such and such high school.
Oh, I've committed to George Washington.
GW's got like 4 guys.
It's crazy.
Well, it can get out of hand, which it might be headed that way. But I'm hopefully that they'll find a good solution to make basketball better.
Mm-hmm.
If that requires keeping the rule, then it's better that way. Fine. I kind of doubt it a little bit, but
I said it last night when we were talking to Corny. We got into the NIL stuff, and I was like, they're gonna have to find a way to regulate it, or it's
I
gonna
would
get
think.
wild.
And again, how much can you do here? I want to be able to provide some for our players to make it easier. But we can't ever get to where we're going to outbid Florida or Mississippi State in this last year's case. Not going to be able to do it. So we got to stay on the lower level, try to do the best we can to want them to want to stay. Because it has two edges to it. If you're not doing your program right, they're out of here.
Yeah, they're gone.
So they make you, okay, let's do this right, let's get a chance. So it does have a little double-edged sword to it. And then at the same time, you know, how do you look at Micah Henlogden and you get mad at him for going to Florida? Well, he wants to be in Florida. Youngstown State and us were the only two that were after him. So obviously we did him right?
Right, for sure.
All of a sudden now he's got SEC and a lot more than that.
Yeah.
There were a ton of schools after him. So obviously we did the right thing for him. He wanted to be somewhere else. I hate it that he left, but I don't hold that against him. You know, if that's where you want to go, fine. We're going to be fine here. I'm going to go find somebody that we'll replace and move forward. I've coached 50 years, and every year I've had we had 68 scholarship kids come through Sox City High School in 28 years. And every year when 3 left, 3 came in.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll find them here, you know. Andy Taylor graduated from here. You graduated from here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you spent 4 years here. You know what? I'm thanking you for it. And I'm wishing you the best, Andy, as he goes. Watching you play over in Europe, to me, it is gratifying that I was a small part of that happening.
You got anything good?
Nah, man. I think how we feeling about this year, Coach? You know, we got.
That's a good
how,
one.
How we feeling
It's
about
a good one. Because first of all, my whole goal every year, I don't care what we look like, I'm a positive person.
Absolutely.
We're going to win the NCAA tournament.
I love it.
I love it.
You know what? And then we're going to take that ride
Mm-hmm.
with a bunch of guys. It's going to be enjoyable. And where that stops, I'll be satisfied.
Yep.
Now, and it's mostly people who've never really competed at a high level. Oh, that's just soft that you just accept. Okay, I hear you. Don't think that when you played me that I would put my foot down on you if I got you on the court.
Right.
I had a chance to do that,
Mhm.
and then we just see how tough your talk is from
Exactly.
that point on.
Exactly.
But you know, I do realize that there's a big old world out there, and that things are going to happen, and not all good things. So how do you handle bad things? That's as important mark of a person as handling good things.
Mm-hmm.
And so this year, I think we have a good ball club. I really do. That we've added, and I didn't want to go into the portal, and I'm really slow to do that. But you do have to feel whole. We lost Andy late,
Mm-hmm.
and we didn't have a high school player that I felt like that could step in right now. So I have to think of Marshall. We went out and got the kid from Northern Eastern Shores,
Mm-hmm.
and the Bowles kid,
Kevon.
and he, boy, he's a lot better than I thought he was
Mhm.
when I watched him on film.
I played with him a couple times, and he can go.
He's a real deal now. He's
Yeah.
strong, and he can
He
shoot.
shoots it pretty well.
Mhm.
He shoots it. He shoots it quick.
Yeah.
He gets a shot off really fast. He doesn't have to set up, and he's a very good defender.
Yeah.
He will get into you. So, you know, I think we've done that. Is he Andy? No, but Andy's not him either.
Right.
So, you know, it's up to us to get him a good role that he can be successful. Like that, brought in Nate from Texas State, and Nate Martin is he's a lot more athletic than I thought.
Yes, he is.
You know, I thought he was an under rim guy.
I didn't know that either.
I thought he was an under rim guy. He came in here and you throw him lobs, and
Uh-huh.
he'll go up and get it. You know,
Mhm.
and he's active. He's stronger and more physical than Micah. Micah had his assets. He's longer and
Mhm.
taller and was good with the ball and moving. But this guy's good ball movement too. He shoots okay. He's getting better. It's something that we can get better. A lot of it's confidence in shooting, and we'll see where that goes. It won't know till it gets on the floor. But we have an active center now who a little bit more mobile than Micah, not as tall, not as long, but more mobile, will take charges in the physical. So it's a good feel. Jacob Connor is going to step up his game.
Mhm.
He's one of the higher recruited players here that we got here.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to show his game. He's 6'9", 6'10", maybe. Point guard type of game. Can do some point guard things. And you got Cam coming back. Cam's a new guy. Oh, I didn't even know he was. He walked in. His body is looking linear instead of that little chunky guy. He's linear now. He probably won't appreciate that. He probably appreciate it now. Right now, he looked good. But he drove down the lane the other day and here and jumped almost from the dotted line, dunked. I thought I'd recruited a new player. I had to go check see who it was because he couldn't jump over the Sunday papers when he got here. But you know, he's one of the best shooters in the country, and he'll take more of a leadership role. You know, he came in as maybe a little bit more prominent position at VMI, but he was playing with Andy and Tavion, who had established himself. So, you know, he had to, like you did a little bit, you know, had to play a little different role.
Yep.
Had to figure it out, and he did, and I think now he'll blossom and be more. I know he's definitely, if not the best. You know, Luke will challenge him a little bit, but he's one of the best shooters that we've had here ever. I hadn't seen him all the way back. I'm sure there's some old timers will tell you they got a few back there. George Stone, I played with one. George Stone, but he shoots better than George. George is a little more streaky than this kid. This kid's more all the time. But I got him, and you know, Obina, who I think they've had early picks on defensive players in the conference, which he was the lead guy, and that they expected him to be probably the best defender in the league, which I think is an award you won, right?
I came second twice.
Second twice?
Yep.
Should have been first. I should have voted one more time. If I'd have been from Logan, I'd have hit that thing twice. Nah, kill him, Logan. I don't want to do that because, you know, if somebody, let me just put this, if somebody's killing you, that means you're good.
That's true.
So you know, we got him, and I think his offensive game has expanded. And Cam, we got a new Cam. We get from Indiana State, who was hurt last year, 6'5", he's rangy, he will defend you, and he shoots pretty well. So, you know, we got a lot of other players. Wyatt Frisk, I didn't know who he was. He's handling the ball, he's doing point guard stuff, and can shoot. He's 6'9", he run, he jumps. You know, if I can keep my assistants out of the way, we'd probably be pretty good. I'll throw them all under the bus. Y'all, well, you got complaints, call them. But, you know, we got a good chance. And like I said, I'm very optimistic. It's going to be, we lost some leadership, you know, so it depends on, we're like this right now. If they start doing that, then I think we got a real good opportunity. And we have to have that. One or two guys, maybe three guys, or maybe it's a team that will make the right play at the right time. And you got to be a little bit lucky. You got to hope the referee smile brightly on you. So, you know, there's a lot of things go into a 1 or 2 or 3 point loss win. You know, you can go real quick from 24 wins to 18. All on luck or bad call or injury. There's a lot of things that get involved in it. And I think the best thing for our fan base is they're going to play just like y'all did. They're going to play together. They're going to represent Marshall well in the classroom and at your home, downtown. You know, we sent y'all out into downtown. You ran 5Ks. And you were a part of the community.
And that's why people came out and supported us.
I think so.
Absolutely.
And I think that's a part of enjoying. It's not a duty. It's making you and every player that comes through here aware of what this town offers, the fan base, what they offer, and that, you know, I don't compare it to anything. I don't look outside what we are. I like who we are and the people that live here. And so I try to share that with y'all. And so far you've taken up that banner and run with it. And it's been 9 good years of me watching young people compete and cheering for Marshall, hurting when we lose and excited when we win.
Well, Coach, I appreciate it.
On down the road.
Coach, appreciate it, man.
Is the TBT going to stay in effect?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
I'm here. That they might bring it back down.
Well, we're trying. We're going to get air conditioning. in here. And that's one of the bigger factors.
Yeah,
we couldn't do it here.
Sure.
We have to get air conditioning.
I think if we did it in the camp, I think it would be.
We'd sell it out.
Oh, we might sell it out. That's what I'm saying.
sell it out, and
You see how Wichita State's games are now,
you know, that's where they are.
Yeah,
Same one.
we would get the same.
We're not the only duck in the pond,
No.
but at the same time, we're a duck in the pond.
Absolutely.
And we're a big duck in that.
And
pond.
we're
Yes,
good.
yes.
Yeah, we're right there. We're floating.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We ain't got our heads down, upside
And I
down.
Yeah.
think we showed that we deserve to at least
Absolutely.
one time have our own region.
Absolutely.
I would agree with that totally, 100%. And again, I look forward to it. And I want to tell y'all how good y'all are for us. You know, every recruit we talk to has seen that,
Mm.
and they like what they see. Not whether you win or lose, they like how y'all play and how you fit together.
Mhm.
And then, of course, winning always
Mhm.
emphasizes
Yeah,
it.
for sure.
But there's a lot more to it. That even when y'all didn't do as well last year,
Mhm.
people still enjoyed
Mhm.
watching that. So
And it's because of like everybody kind of buys into their role.
you
for
can
the
see it in
most
your
part.
faces.
We
You can
enjoy
see
it. We
You
wanna
can
be
see
there.
your bench. You can see it all. You know, some of them are sitting over there like this, and you guys are up there doing
Yeah,
this.
absolutely.
And it makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
And it makes it enjoyable for y'all.
Well, that's
It
awesome.
certainly made it enjoyable for me watching y'all.
It's like one of the things I look forward to most
Yeah,
every
so
year.
there you go. And that's again what life's about. So if you're a Herd fan, I hope you enjoy it. I hope you stay with this new group coming out. Be a supporter. Be positive. We'll handle if it doesn't work out exactly the way you want to. We'll handle it, fix it, and move forward. You know. So again, I don't want to underemphasize though what we've had. I think what you the leading steal guy
Mhm.
ever here.
Yep.
He
Yes,
had
sir.
the top 2 scores ever here.
Mhm.
Mhm.
He had
Had a couple that weren't far behind.
No,
CJ
CJ
was
was
far
right
behind.
in the mix.
Ryan, Ryan
Ryan.
wasn't far behind.
Luke was the all-time leading three-point
Three.
shooter
Until John
John
did.
took it.
Mhm.
In the Conference USA, we're one of the top attended games
Yes.
in Conference USA and in Sun Belt.
Yep.
It got to a point when I was in school that like, if we didn't have 6,000-7,000 people at all our home games,
Yeah.
we were confused.
Right.
Like, what's going on?
And COVID hurt us.
COVID
it
did.
really did. It hurt your
Mhm.
your team.
Mhm.
And I didn't feel good. And,
Yeah.
and you know, that's just reality. That's the way it was, and it set us back. But I thought this team brought us back now,
Yeah.
back to that level. And
Mhm.
I'm thinking this next team will do the same thing.
Yep.
So you have to appreciate what you got. Sometimes it's like you want too much,
Exactly.
or you want so bad the very top banana that you miss the fruit underneath, and then you don't enjoy what you have. You better enjoy what you have, and if the final icing gets on the cake or the top of the tree shows up, then we'll all rejoice always as much as we can. But you have to appreciate what y'all did. We didn't win the NCAA, right? We
Mhm.
didn't. But
No, we
it was a great run. Wasn't it?
Great run. It was
Oh,
It was
awesome.
a great run,
Yeah.
and y'all enjoyed it in the Hooper fan base, and I think the majority of them do.
They did.
Absolutely. Yep.
Well, I appreciate you.
We appreciate you.
Go
Thanks
Herb.
for having me.
Go Herb.
Yes, sir.
And that does it for another episode of Heard the Word podcast. We'll be back.